Hello world, Stephen Michael Zach here, and today we're taking a look at the Sutfoto. This is the P100 bicolor. So now, full disclosure, I did buy this with my own money, so these are going to be my own brutal and honest opinions as always. Now this will cost you about $170-ish at the time of the recording of this video. So let's jump right in and let's take a look at construction and what's inside the box. Okay, so first let's start off with the construction of the bag here. It is fairly nice. It is not bad at all. Construction seems pretty good. You do get feet. Everything is nice and tight, unlike the eye footage, which I reviewed last week right there. And of course you will obviously get a shoulder strap, which is very cool. Now let's take a look at these straps here. Velcro, the handle, all nothing to write home about. I'm sure if I pulled really hard, this would actually rip off. You do get some very strong Velcro, and it's elasticy for holding your Octosoft boxes or whatever accessories you want. It is a nice zipper, and there is a lot of room in the top here, it seems. Now, opening this up, you do get these kind of straps, but they don't really hold it open when you have the power supply up here. And speaking up top, you do get a very cheap zipper here. And up here you get the control box, and you're going to get the cord itself. You do get a handle. Again, nothing to write home about. It is your simple, cheap handle, shoulder strap. Not great, but you do get one. You get instructions and warranty. You get this little protecting pad here. And one thing I will say is the reason that you should keep this and the foam that is and the cardboard that's there is to protect your dish, because when this is up here and it flops down, it could flop into your dish and bend your dish. So just keep that. Now again, you get a reflector dish. I hate when it comes with cardboard in it, but keep this cardboard. You're going to need it. And it does have some foam here, but we can probably discard that, which will make more room. And again, if you're really worried, I guess you can put this face down, but there you go. There you have it. You get one of these dishes. It is full Bowens mount, which is awesome. And then inside, you're going to get a little furniture tie, and we'll talk about this later. And you're going to get the light itself. Okay, so let's talk basic construction. This thing is made of all plastic. It is your typical Sutfoto Sakani light here. Now, one thing I will say is it does have a nice handle back here. Don't slam this handle down. This has a potential to crack because it is not the strongest handle. But it is made of all plastic. Now, let's start off with the front. There is no protection cap on this. I get it on a mini Bowens mount that there's no protection, but here there isn't any protection cap, and that is surprising. So you can buy one like this, or take one from one of my apertures that's hanging in my room, and there you go. I would definitely store it like this. Now you do get the release on this side, and it seems pretty nice. You do have a protective glass right there, so that looks pretty good. Now, what I love about this is the Sony MPFs are built into the side, which is very cool, and you get releases here. And let's have a look at that release. That's not going anywhere. The locks are really good on this. So there you go, and then let's take a look at the mount on the bottom. You get a Rosetta mount, which is not great. And again, there's no metal inside, so do not put heavy modifiers on this because this will crack and break. So there you go, there you have it. Now taking a look at the back here, you get a whole bunch of clicky cheap buttons. They are fine. You do get a DC 24 volt, and you do get a hard switch, which I absolutely love. This is fantastic. So there you go, there you have it. That is pretty much the basic construction here. Let's go ahead and pop on the dish. And popping on the dish, it's not moving. There's no noise. It sounds great. You could definitely put this on a handle, pop in 2 of the batteries, and you could Hollywood this around, no problem. And to be able to Hollywood a 100-watt light is pretty awesome. So turning this thing on, the first thing you will notice is that this has one of those terrible Sakani screens. I wish Sakani and Sutfoto, they buy from the same Chinese manufacturer. I really wish that manufacturer would stop using these screens. I know they're cheap, and I know they bring down the price, but you cannot read them. Just take a look. The minute you start to turn these, you're going to get problems reading them. So that is a huge, huge, huge problem with this. Now note, when you're on battery power, first off, this thing goes from 10,000 Kelvin all the way down to 28,000 Kelvin. So very cool that it does that. And it goes, press this button in, and this goes all the way up. When you're on battery power, you're only going to get 80%. That is all you are going to get. And let's go ahead and zoom in here so you can actually see the screen here. So yeah, so you're only going to get about 80% power when on battery. And again, take a look. This is that one of those terrible screens that just disappears. And yes, 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 you can run this off a V-mount battery. Here we go. And again, let's see, you are going to be able to get 100% power on a V-mount battery. So if you want to forego the Sony NPF batteries and get yourself some kind of handle that will, or build yourself some kind of handle that will hold a V-mount battery, this thing can run off a battery at 100%, which is great. So there you go. So let's take a look at some of the controls here. Hitting the CCT button. As you saw before, we have 10,000 Kelvin to 28,000 Kelvin. So this is a bicolor light. You do get channels and groups, so you can group and channel a whole bunch of these together. Yes, there is a pretty basic phone app for this. You do have Bluetooth here. And let's go ahead. Now you can enter the effects by either pressing this in or the effects button. So we'll press this, and of course you get fire, you get fireworks, faulty bulb, TV, paparazzi, lightning, and fire, and back to fireworks. And you will get at least 10 frequencies of each. So we can go here and control, you get 1 through 10, so you can control the intervals. Now, they are not great. I'll tip this back so you can see the faulty bulb and turning the intervals. It's just very flickery. Let's go to one of my favorites, which is fire. And you can kind of control the fire, but as you can see, it's just kind of flickery. So there you go, you do get some okay special effects. Okay, so here we are at 100% power, and I have to say the quality of light here is really, 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 really nice. It does not look green to my eye, it looks really nice. And let's go ahead, and we're at 4,500 Kelvin. There's 3,200 Kelvin, 45 is what we were at. This goes up to 5,600 Kelvin. Again, my camera is set to 4,500 Kelvin, but I will tell you that 5,600 Kelvin looks nice. No change there. As you can see, this does jump down. It is flickery, so do not change this when you are recording. Again, the screen is very difficult to see. But all in all, this looks really, really, really nice. Let's go ahead and slap on the dish here. And as you can see, dish has some really nice fall off. There's not a huge banding, so it is very, very, very nice. It does have a nice fall off. So no worries about that. And multiple shadowing, not too bad. Not too bad at all. Let's go ahead and move this light here. The multiple shadowing isn't bad. Okay, so here we are with the dish on, and we are at 7%, and this thing is about 5 feet away, and it is super, super duper blazing. So that is not bad at all. Now, let's go ahead into the app, and as you can see, the app is really no frills. Now you can hit add device, but it finds it right away because I've added it before, and even when I added it, it was super easy. And here you go. There you go, right away. Now you can see it's a bit flickery. You do get plus and minus, which I love. So you can plus and minus things, which is very cool. And you can of course also control the color temperature here. And let's go to about 4,500 Kelvin because that's what the camera is usually set to. And there we go. So let's go up to, this is 1% with the dish on. That's pretty impressive. Of course, you do get your effects and you control the intensity and the frequency and everything there. And that is pretty much it. And yes, you can apply to all the devices or just one. Okay, so here we are with the dish off at 7% power. And I have to say, this thing is super duper bright for what it is. Now, let me be quiet for a second. Let me hear if I can hear the fan. So I can hear the fan, but it really isn't that noticeable, but there is a fan. It's not terrible, and if it were behind a modifier, I probably wouldn't hear it at all. But just keep in mind there is a fan, and I do believe the higher intensity you go, doesn't seem like it ramps up. So there you go. Pretty cool right there. Okay, so let's talk pros and cons about this thing, starting out with the cons. Now, first off, there is no front cap, so you will need to buy your own front cap. This thing is very front heavy. Once you put the batteries on, if you put big honking batteries like this on it, then it sort of evens it out. But there you go, there you have it. It is made of all plastic, so do not drop it. The handle has a tendency, could possibly crack. And also, let's talk about this mount. While there are a lot of teeth in this Rosetta, and I really didn't have a hard time getting it where I wanted it to go, again, there's no metal inside, so don't put heavy modifiers on. It could crack and break. I'm not a fan of this at all. Again, there's 4 Allen screws here, so you could probably replace it with something else. So there you go, there you have it. The screen, it is one of those awful unreadable screens. Every time you turn it this way or up or down, you cannot read it, so you will need to use the phone app when operating this. It's one of the things that drives me crazy about my Sakani tube lights is that the screen is so hard to read. So there you go, there you have it. So there's that. You do have special effects. They're not great. The phone app is no frills. Let's talk about the power box here. It is very cheap. Don't drop this. It could crack open. And one thing I did notice when I was plugging this in is that the metal kind of scrapes inside. It does not feel, does not instill confidence. It feels like there's something scratching inside. And while you do get a furniture tie to tie this to the side of a light pole, this is going to slide up and down. So you're going to want to get like a furniture pad and put that here permanently so that it doesn't slide up and down. Then this should work for you. Again, I wish it had at least a loop or something, but it does not. So there you go. There you have it. Now let's talk the shoulder strap and case. This is not padded at all. This is just okay. The case is pretty decent. These strappy things aren't going to really hold this open. It's going to flop, so don't think that this is like aperture and this is actually going to hold these open, because it won't. And again, you don't get any foam for inside the dish. All they give you is a piece of cardboard. Keep the cardboard so that you don't dent the dish with your remote. So there you go, there you have it. And these special effects in here are kind of meh. So let's talk about the positives. The positives, starting from the front. Yes, you do get glass on the front. You do get a very nice locking Bowens mount here. This is not rattling at all. You could definitely handheld this. You do get not 1, but 2 Sony NPF batteries. You'll need both in order to operate this, but yes, you can actually run this off 2 Sony NPF batteries, and you can go up to 80% power, which is really fantastic. And like I said, once you add the batteries, this adds a little bit more center weight. So yes, you can take a handle and walk around with this and use a 100-watt light as a Hollywood light. You could put a modifier on here, just keep it small. But yes, love the fact that you do get that. These locks are fantastic. They're not coming out unless you press them, which is very cool. The release button here works very well. The fan is relatively quiet, which is great. Now let's talk about the back here. You get a lot of functionality here. You get a nice quality light. The bicolor and the daylight all look really nice. I didn't really see any shifting or anything. The dish actually has a nice fall off. It's not really banding, but it does get just maybe a little bit dimmer toward the outside, but it is a nicer fall off than just like weird discoloring and banding that you see on a lot of these units. So very nice there. Yes, you can plug in a V-mount battery and use a V-mount battery with a D-tap cable to this and get 100% power. Yes, I did plug in my 250-watt power supply, and yes, it did work. So kudos again there. And that is pretty much it. I will have to say I am very impressed for something that is inexpensive as this. For I think it's $180 at the time of the recording of this video. This is not bad. I am continually impressed with Sutfoto / Sakani / digital photo. They all buy from the same Chinese manufacturer. I've called them on it before, and they've laughed about it because they know that I know that all they do is they find a manufacturer and slap their name on it. I will say I do really like this. If you are a beginner filmmaker, if you're in a studio, if you're on a tight budget, this is pretty good. We're really getting to the point now where even these cheap 100 watts and 60 watts and 200 watts, they're really affordable and they're really powerful. And it really almost doesn't matter which one you use. They are all usable, which is pretty great. And of course, there is not a lot of there's no multiple shadowing with this, so not a lot of it, so which is very cool. I like this thing. This definitely is a companion. If you have a couple of the Sutfoto 60 watts or the 60 RGB, this is definitely a companion to that if you have a whole bunch of those. But all in all, I'd say a very, very usable light. I'm just not crazy about this screen, but there you go. There you have it. So those are my thoughts, but I want to know yours. So leave your questions and comments in the notes below. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to mash that bell button to be notified when we drop a brand new video. And feel free to use the links below as it helps out the channel. I'm Stephen Michael Zach, and this is new to me.